Hey everyone! It's been a while since we last saw them navigate the ups and downs of life in their Brooklyn apartment. We're taking a trip down memory lane to see how the cast of Good Times has transformed over the years. Get ready for some real names, ages, and a glimpse into their lives in 2024. Let's see what Thelma, Florida, James, JJ, and Ralph are up to now. Number 1. Janette Dubois. As Willona Wood, generous to a fault and always the life of the party, Willona Wood is the friend everyone wants. Sure, she might get a little too curious for her own good, indulging in the occasional juicy tidbit, but when it comes down to it, her loyalty to her best friend, Florida, is unshakable. Through thick and thin, Willona's there, a rock in the storm. Things might not have always been smooth sailing on the set of Good Times, but that didn't stop Janette Dubois from soaring after the show ended. There were rumors of tension, but Janette wasn't about to let that dim her light. Maybe it was because she fought for a bigger role on the show, but whatever the reason, her career kept on rocking. Even after Good Times said goodbye, Janette kept popping up on our screens everywhere. You might remember her on shows like A Different World, Beverly Hills 90210, or even Sister, Sister. She wasn't afraid to show off her acting chops in all sorts of places, from family sitcoms like Home Improvement to action flicks like Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. And guess what? Janette wasn't just a live-action star. She lent her voice to cartoons too, like the hilarious The PJs. Her voice acting was so good, she even won 2 Emmy Awards for it. It's no surprise that some actors struggle after a big hit show, but Janette Dubois? She proved she was more than just Willona from Good Times. She was a talented actress and singer who kept on entertaining us for years to come. Willona Woods played by Janette Dubois when she was 42 years old. Sadly, Willona Woods died on February 17, 2020, of cardiac arrest at her residence in Glendale, California. She was 88 years old. Number 2. Ralph Carter as Michael Evans. The world's messed up, divided by race. But Michael? He won't stand for it. He's out there, loud and clear, calling out the unfairness baked right into the system. He doesn't waste time with fancy speeches. He just gets things done, like shining a bright light on all the cracks in the system that keep people down because of their skin color. But Michael wants more than just pointing out problems. He dreams of a future where everyone gets treated equally, not some far-off fantasy. He rallies people to join him, one protest at a time. Seeing his passion is enough to make you want to fight alongside him. Not all good times come from TV. After his role on Good Times, this young actor decided the bright lights of Broadway suited him better than the sitcom life. He headed back to the stage where he truly belonged, and guess what? His talent shined even brighter. He wasn't just some one-hit wonder. In 1974, he won a prestigious Drama Desk Award for his performance in a play called Raisin in the Sun. They even nominated him for a Tony Award that same year. Clearly, theater critics were raving about his acting chops. But acting wasn't his only passion. These days, he's the vice president of a group called Audelco. They celebrate everything amazing about black theater, which is pretty cool. He also loves music and enjoys performing as a singer at nightclubs. So, you see, this talented guy isn't afraid to show off his skills in all sorts of ways. Being part of Good Times was definitely a highlight, but it's clear his love for theater runs deep. He even works with an organization that honors the history of black actors and playwrights on the New York stage. Preserving this rich heritage is important to him. Michael Evans was played by Ralph Carter when he was 13 years old, and now he is 62 years old. Number 3. Nadette Stannis as Thelma Evans. Thelma might get a little smothered by her dad's protectiveness sometimes. The guy worries, but that doesn't stop her from going after romance. Oh boy, does she ever. Thelma's a dreamer, just like everyone else in her family. They all have this big goal, escaping their tough neighborhood for a better life. Until then, Thelma's a champ at helping out at home. Her mom can always count on her, and Thelma never complains about pitching in. The actress who played Thelma, Bern Nadette Stannis, was a huge star back in the day. She was so beautiful that some people even thought she should have been a model, like Farrah Fawcett with that iconic poster. Apparently, that idea didn't fly with the producers, but that's okay. Thelma might have been a breeze to work with on set, but things were a little slower for Stannis after Good Times ended. There were some dry spells in the 80s, but she did pop up on shows like The Love Boat and even The Cosby Show later on. More recently, you might have seen her on Black Jesus. Stannis also has a family life outside of acting. She has 2 kids from her first marriage and has been married a few times throughout the years. Thelma Evans was played by Bernadette Stannis when she was 21 years old, and now she is 69 years old. Number 4. Jimmy Walker as James Evans, Jr. People called him a flamboyant goofball, always bringing the laughs. JJ was a comedy machine, a natural at making people erupt in laughter. He could whip out a one-liner quicker than you could blink, and his impressions were spot on. His timing was perfect, and his huge personality filled the whole stage. But JJ's life wasn't all laughter. He'd been through some tough stuff, things that would have sent most people packing. But JJ, he was like a superhero, always bouncing back, always chasing his dreams with a smile. Jimmy Walker's path to fame wasn't exactly straight out of Hollywood. Originally, he had his sights set on basketball glory, but that dream didn't quite take flight. After bouncing around different jobs, he discovered a hidden talent, making people laugh. His first gig? Warming up the crowd for a poetry group? His big break came in 1972 with a TV appearance on Jack Parr's show. This led to roles on shows like Maude and eventually landed him the iconic role of JJ on Good Times. JJ's catchphrases and signature style made Walker a household name. His performance was so spot on, he even scored Golden Globe nominations for Best Supporting Actor. While JJ was his breakout role, Walker didn't limit himself to just Good Times. He guest-starred on popular shows like Fantasy Island and even had a part in the hilarious movie Airplane. Comedy was clearly his calling, and he continued touring as a stand-up comic for a good chunk of the year. It seems like performing live in front of an audience is what truly keeps him going. As for his personal life, Jimmy Walker has flown solo. There's no public record of him ever getting married or having kids. He seems content to focus on his career and keep the crowd roaring with laughter. James Evans Jr. was played by Jimmy Walker when he was 33 years old, and now he is 75 years old. Number 5. Esther Rolle as Florida Evans. Florida's days are busier than a beehive. Between cooking, cleaning, laundry, and shopping, she barely has time to blink. But that's not all. She even juggles a part-time job to help make ends meet. If that's not dedication, I don't know what is. The Evans family might be tight on cash sometimes, but Florida always makes them feel rich in love. Her door is always open, and her heart is as warm as sunshine. She's the kind of neighbor who would share her last slice of pie, the kind of mom who makes you feel like you can conquer anything. Jimmy Walker's path to fame wasn't exactly straight out of Hollywood. Originally, he had his sights set on basketball glory, but that dream didn't quite take flight. After bouncing around different jobs, he discovered a hidden talent, making people laugh. His first gig? Warming up the crowd for a poetry group. His big break came in 1972 with a TV appearance on Jack Parr's show. This led to roles on shows like Maude and eventually landed him the iconic role of JJ on Good Times. JJ's catchphrases and signature style made Walker a household name. His performance was so spot on, he even scored Golden Globe nominations for Best Supporting Actor. While JJ was his breakout role, Walker didn't limit himself to just Good Times. He guest-starred on popular shows like Fantasy Island and even had a part in the hilarious movie Airplane. Comedy was clearly his calling, and he continued touring as a stand-up comic for a good chunk of the year. It seems like performing live in front of an audience is what truly keeps him going. As for his personal life, Jimmy Walker has flown solo. There's no public record of him ever getting married or having kids. He seems content to focus on his career and keep the crowd roaring with laughter. Florida Evans was played by Esther Rolle when she was 54 years old. Sadly, Rolle died on November 17, 1998, in Culver City, California, from complications of diabetes at the age of 78. Number 6. John Amos as James Evans. James Evans was as tough as nails. The Korean War forged him into a man of strength and resilience. But coming home, he faced a different kind of battle. One against a system that wouldn't give him a shot. No fancy education meant James was stuck in dead-end manual labor jobs. It stung, a constant reminder that society didn't see his true worth. But James wasn't one to give up. He fought for his family with the same grit he showed in combat. College degree or not, he had something money couldn't buy: unshakable love and commitment to his wife and kids. John Amos wasn't exactly a newcomer when he landed his role on Good Times. He'd already carved a path for himself on the theater stage, even starting his own company. This guy wasn't afraid of the spotlight. He transitioned smoothly to television, appearing on shows like The Mary Tyler Moore Show and Maude before becoming known as the no-nonsense father, James Evans, on Good Times. While things on the set of Good Times seemed to get a bit bumpy after a few years, John wasn't fazed. His big break came in 1977 with the groundbreaking miniseries Roots. His powerful performance as Kunta Kinte earned him an Emmy nomination, solidifying his status as a dramatic powerhouse. John kept the momentum going, taking on roles in movies like Coming to America alongside Eddie Murphy. He's a busy guy, but acting isn't his only focus. He's also a proud dad of 6 kids. These days, John Amos is still living life on his own terms in New Jersey. He's a true Hollywood veteran who left his mark on both theater and television. James Evans was played by John Amos when he was 35 years old, and now he is 83 years old. Number 7. Johnny Brown as Nathan Bookman was all business, loud as a foghorn, and always sporting that trademark hat tilted just so. His way of talking was as unique as his headwear, making him impossible to miss. Bookman believed in straight talk, no sugarcoating. He'd tell it like it is, whether you wanted to hear it or not. Now, living in the same building as the Evans family wasn't exactly peaceful. Bookman and the Evanses clashed more than symbols. But here's the thing. Under all that yelling and butting heads, there was a surprising amount of respect between them. They might not always see eye to eye, but deep down, they understood and appreciated each other. Even after leaving his legendary football career behind, Jim Brown wasn't ready to step out of the spotlight. He kicked off his acting journey on the small screen, landing a role in The Mouse Factory early on. This began a decades-long television career that spanned the 70s and 80s. Brown wasn't afraid to take on a variety of projects. You might have seen him in shows like The Plastic Man Comedy or Adventure Show, or even Chipmunks, the cartoon series that ran for a whole decade. He also showed his dramatic side in movies like Body and Soul. Later on, Brown continued to grace our screens with appearances in popular sitcoms like The Wayans Brothers and The Jamie Foxx Show. His acting credits even include the 2007 film I'm Through with White Girls. So, whether you knew him for his football prowess or his entertaining television roles, Jim Brown was a multi-talented star who left his mark on both the sports world and Hollywood. Nathan Bookman was played by Johnny Brown when he was 32 years old. Sadly, Brown died of cardiac arrest in Los Angeles on March 2, 2022, at the age of 84. Number 8. Janet Jackson as Millicent Pennywood's life dealt her a rough hand, an abusive mom, and the tough world of foster care. But Penny was a fighter. Through all the storms, her spirit held strong, refusing to break. Her journey was an amazing transformation. This little girl grew wise beyond her years, like a tiny sage offering profound advice to the Evans family. Even as they faced their own struggles, Penny's words were a beacon of hope, shining a light for them and countless others stuck in similar dark places. While Janet Jackson's role as Penny Gordon Woods on Good Times introduced her to audiences, her career soared far beyond the Evans apartment. Jackson's portrayal of a young girl facing abuse resonated with viewers, but it was just the beginning of her remarkable journey. The 1980s and 90s saw Janet Jackson blossom into a global pop superstar. Her infectious music and captivating performances cemented her status as a cultural icon. Fast forward to 2019, and Jackson's influence was undeniable as she rightfully earned her place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Even a global pandemic couldn't slow Janet down. Though her 2020 album and tour plans shifted due to COVID-19, her dedication to her craft never wavered. In 2022, a two-part documentary delved into her life and career, further solidifying her place as a legend in the entertainment industry. Janet Jackson's story extends far beyond her time on Good Times. She is a talented singer, dancer, and performer who continues to inspire generations of artists. Millicent Penny Woods was played by Janet Jackson when she was 11 years old, and now she is 57 years old. Number 9. Ben Powers as Keith Anderson. Keith oozed confidence. You could practically smell the self-assurance radiating off him. The coolest guy in the room, he was also the ultimate friend, always there to lend a hand. In a world full of doubts, Keith's unwavering faith in himself and his infectious personality were like a built-in compass. He navigated the twists and turns of life with ease, guiding those around him through their own journeys. He was a constant reminder that even in the face of challenges, a friend like Keith can make the whole experience a lot brighter. Ben Powers, the talented actor who brought warmth and humor to the role of Keith Anderson on Good Times, leaves behind a legacy far richer than just one character. Powers' journey began at the age of 28. He honed his comedic skills early on, landing roles in the iconic sketch show Laugh In, known for its outrageous humor and cultural commentary. This early exposure put him on the map, leading him to share the screen with comedy legends Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong in their cult classic film Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. But Powers wasn't just a funny man. He possessed a depth that allowed him to transition seamlessly between genres. In the long-running sitcom Gimme a Break, he brought a charming presence, likely similar to his character on Good Times. However, he wasn't afraid to take on dramatic challenges. The short-lived CBS drama Dropout Father allowed him to explore a more serious side, showcasing his range as an actor. Powers also proved his ability to hold his own among Hollywood heavyweights. He shared the screen with the legendary Burt Reynolds in the remake of The Man Who Loved Women, demonstrating his comfort level with big-budget productions. His television career continued to flourish with appearances on shows like The New Mike Hammer, a detective series with a touch of humor, perfectly aligning with Powers' skill set. Later in his career, Powers continued to work steadily, taking on roles in projects like Shattered Vows. While details about his personal life remain largely private, it's clear that his passion for acting remained strong throughout his years in the entertainment industry. Keith Anderson was played by Ben Powers when he was 14 years old. Sadly, Powers died of liver cancer on April 6, 2015, at the age of 64. Number 10. Teddy Wilson as Sweet Daddy William smooth talker with a style all his own. Daddy William got charisma oozing out of him. People dig his chill confidence and the hint of mystery that hangs around him like a good cologne. A natural leader, he gets respect without even flexing, but knows how to break the tension with a funny quip when things get heated. No matter the situation, Sweet Daddy Williams keeps his cool, stays collected, and always seems a step ahead, like he's got the inside scoop on everything. Teddy Wilson started out playing with big bands like Benny Goodman's, but his true passion was smaller groups. He led his own bands, most famously a smokin' sextet at Cafe Society, a cool New York City club. But Teddy wasn't just about playing. In the 40s, he also joined the CBS radio crew, spreading his jazz magic to a wider audience. And get this, he even taught at fancy music schools like Juilliard, sharing his knowledge with future jazz stars. Teddy's smooth and elegant style, with those gentle touches on the keys, is what really made him stand out. He influenced countless pianists who came after him. Sweet Daddy William was played by Teddy Wilson when he was 64 years old. Sadly, he died of stomach cancer in New Britain, Connecticut on July 31, 1986, aged 73. Number 11, Helen Martin as Weeping Wanda Williams. Weeping Wanda Williams is a woman of profound empathy. Her emotions run deep, and she feels the joys and sorrows of those around her with an intensity that borders on the poetic. A true pillar of support, Wanda readily offers a shoulder to cry on and a heart full of understanding. Helen Martin was an African-American actress with a strong reputation. She first made a name for herself as a founding member of Harlem's American Negro Theater in the early 1940s and debuted on Broadway in Orson Welles' 1941 production of Native Son. Many of her finest roles continued to be for the stage, but later in her career she also appeared regularly on television and in feature films. She made her screen debut in director Phil Carlson's explosively angry 55 crime film The Phoenix City Story, based on a true story of major corruption, murder, and racial intolerance in the Alabama town. It was another 14 years before she returned to making films or television, but she would quickly make up for lost time throughout the 70s and beyond. On television, she is best known for her roles on sitcoms that focused mostly on the lives of black characters, such as That's My Mama, Good Times, and the long-running 227. Martin played similar offbeat characters in the movies Doc Hollywood, I Got the Hook Up, I'm 'Bout It, and Bulworth. Weeping Wanda Williams was played by Helen Martin when she was 65 years old. Sadly, Martin died of a heart attack on March 25, 2000, in Monterey, California, age 90. All right, that's a look back at the iconic cast of Good Times. Their portrayal of family life in the city continues to resonate. Feeling inspired for a rewatch? Let us know what classic sitcom you'd like to see us explore next.